Hey everybody, this is Yarince Pascual Mateo, your host here at Espera Que.
Hey, welcome everyone. I'm Christian Count. I want to welcome everyone to the very first and the new Espera Que show with Yarince. I'm Christian Cano, and Yarince, I want to welcome you to our viewers and listeners. And
Hello everybody.
yeah, welcome. So this show is it's new, and we hope this show really kicks off. Hopefully, this show will give a perspective to our viewers and listeners for young Latinos and Hispanic men around America, which is badly needed,
Yeah,
especially as we have seen over the last couple of years. And so, the title is going to be Espera Que. And we came up with the title because of, I think many of us, when we get information, we go, what? Wait, or wait, what? And is it grammatically correct? Probably not.
yeah.
But, it is what it is. So
We're in
you're in,
interesting times. It's like
yeah.
everything is just like, what? What's going on? What? I can't.
Exactly. So, Yarince, I want to welcome you and I want to congratulate you on your new show and talk to us. Talk to the viewers and listeners on what you think, what's going on, and if you have any comments or any feedback about 2024.
Well, I want to say to whoever's listening, thank you. And wow, first show. Yippee. Let's see how this goes. But either way, gotta say 2024 in the review is kind of just, in my personal life, pretty good, pretty decent. Rocky start, but was able to get to a really comfortable place in my life and living as an American in this burning hellscape as we watch the end of Rome. I mean, I've been desensitized since that dumb gorilla died in 2016, and then it's just, I don't know. Ever since I saw Trump coming up that escalator or down the escalator, I don't know, saying he's going to run for president, I'm like, this ain't going to be great. 4 years later, it wasn't great. Biden came in. I mean, something improved, but I still had to hear this annoyance. And then now we're here. And I'm just hoping this next 4 years doesn't become the dystopian hellscape that I was afraid of in 2016. But here we are.
I hear what you're saying because a lot of us in 2016, it's almost kind of hard to believe that was over 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It feels like you're young. It feels like it has been going on your entire life. I mean, does it feel that way for you or?
Oh, yeah. Like I can literally separate my lifetimes from 2016. It was my childhood, and in 2016 it just stopped. And then after that, it was college. 2016 was pretty much me getting into college and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then end of college, COVID, and then COVID, after COVID, adulthooding. And yeah, you could just see the stops of just life changing so abruptly with so many weird and interesting events happening, with
Yeah.
so many interesting and weird characters all over the place just fighting for power. And it's just like, I just want to live happy. I just want to live healthy. Like I don't need all this drama, but this is the life we got.
But that's an excellent point because I'm curious if because I mean due to especially a lot of younger Latinos and Hispanic men or just a lot of younger people, this is all they've known, or most of all they've known as far as their adulthood. Whereas many of us who are of older age, so to speak, we can say, "Oh, I remember in the Clinton days when it was, it was this way," or during President Obama's first time, and the excitement and all that kind of stuff. I mean, do you think that has brought your generation or younger people more involved, or has it turned them off?
Um, the thing is, turning yourself off to this is literally a detriment to your life. That's the
Sure.
issue. Like in the past, you could ignore it. Like in the past, politics was still hectic, horrible, and disgusting, but it wasn't a circus. And
Yeah.
it wasn't, we didn't have 24/7 media all the time recording it and making all these narratives and all that stuff. But now, us growing up with technology, the internet, we
Mm-hmm.
are so interconnected. We know a lot of stuff. We hear many voices every day, all the time.
Sure.
It's just you being so ignorant and ignoring this stuff or not doing anything is literally harming you
Sure.
because you may ignore it as much as you want. It's still going to fuck you over. I'm sorry. That's how it goes. Because at the end of the day, yeah, it won't be immediate, but in 2 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, it's going to happen. Every action has a consequence. And there has been so much stuff that happened in this period of time. We're going to see the ramification in centuries. And if America stays that long, it's going to be remembered for how hectic and crazy this set up. Like,
Yeah.
it was the start of a new millennium. It kind of started with a terrorist attack and then years of war just destabilizing a whole entire other side of the part of the world. And now our home country is now going to become destabilized because I don't know, either because people were greedy, either people were ignorant, either people just still in their racist ways. But we elected someone who will pour gasoline on this fire and light this whole entire place down. I don't know. It's like,
Yeah, that's a good point. I know that you have been on our other show, Coffee and Panduce, and one of the things that we were expecting all 2024 was to
yeah,
be saved by your generation. Saved insofar as save us from the continuing of the MAGA movement and Trump, but it didn't happen.
yeah,
In certain regions, they stepped up to the plate. Young women did vote in higher percentages. Young Latinas and African American and Black women did vote. Young white women did vote in certain areas. But overall, it seems like young men, especially young white men, voted at a little bit higher than expected, and young Black and Latino and Hispanic men didn't vote as high as we needed them to vote,
yeah.
which is what they're attributing Trump's win. Because when you look at the data, Trump really did not win by a lot.
No,
He's boasting that he did,
he
but he
didn't.
only got, only I think it was 61% of registered voters voted. Of the 61%, Trump only got 49.9% of the registered voters. That means that when you do the percentages, over 60% of Americans who could vote or who are registered didn't vote for him. And because 30% of people didn't vote, so more people didn't vote for him than voted for him. So there's a lot of apathy, and there was a lot of people who just, I guess, just figured. I don't know. I'm curious what you have to say before we take our first break. Is Do you think that was because they were like, all right, let's just go 4 more years and let's just have him burn down the house and then we can recreate it, or what do you think about that?
Well, when all the stats came out about the demographics of who voted and all that stuff, I was like, this is just gonna create more infighting because at the end of the day, it wasn't. Yes, all of us are different in our own all things, but we're all humans. We all make decisions. We all can come to many different conclusions. Our lives are different, and we have different viewpoints and stuff like that. Who is a convicted felon, has done multiple scams, has literal years of allegations of sexually assaulting women, his best friends with a human trafficker, best friends with multiple human traffickers, have
Yeah,
more pictures with human traffickers than his own children.
yeah,
There are so many ways that this man is shown to not be someone we should trust and believe in. But it's
sure,
disappointing that either because of a lot of money being funded into media, a lot of money being funded into propaganda, campaigning, the Democrats, they were just tone deaf all the time because a lot of people are saying like, hey, can we go more progressive, like free healthcare, education? There's like,
mm-hmm.
no, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
Yeah,
one reason you're
yeah,
still to blame. Like, I'm
yeah,
not giving the Democrats any
yeah,
congratulations or heartfelt or sympathy. Y'all still suck. I'm
yeah.
sorry. So I'm just tired of all this like not listening to people, not doing all this stuff. There was so much infighting. You could see on TikTok and stuff. There were multiple creators complaining about how a lot of white liberal creators were just telling people to shut up and fall in line. And they're like,
Yeah.
that's don't expect us to be your miracle workers and then be like this disrespectful stuff. And then there's obviously all the trolls on the other side who are just like spiking up all this like hate and fear and all that stuff. And one thing I noticed about like a lot of people talking about men and how they mostly sided with Trump, the thing is like Trump did court them. Trump did went after the men while Kamala, Harris, she went around and she did podcasts and did everything for like helping out like the community and all Americans and stuff like that. But a lot of the men who were courted by Trump, they're the ones who feel being replaced because other people are taking over when they're not taking over. They're just invited into the same space as everybody else.
Yeah.
And some of them was like that. I think it's mostly all of them because I genuinely, as a man, can't think of a way that I need to be like sweet talked or courted as being seen and stuff like that for politics when there is so many different things that is going on that me being a man, it doesn't affect, but other people like queer people, women, children, everything else. I'm like, I love a lot of people. Not all of them are men. I can care a lot about other people and have the empathy to care about them and be an ally for them. I don't understand the other guys who just feel so butthurt. Maybe it's because they're lonely and we should do something about helping people out. But there's one thing about being lonely and there's one thing about being a total piece of crap who scares off other people and just acts like a jerk. And it's just this cycle of like, I have to deal with one side who just doesn't want to change because they're still old, decrepit fools who wants to keep their money and power. And then I have another side of old, decrepit fools who wants to keep their money, but also want to go back to the time where it's okay to lynch me out in the public. And I just like, and I have to deal with other people who agree with me and want good things, but think it's my skin that's the issue and not the old, decrepit fools in power. And I'm like, it's tiring. So I'm here just watching, trying to do my best to help for the people I care about to live. I'm going to have to side with Democrats because that's literally the only left side leaning party in this country. Like there's many systems that could be fixed that would have never led us to this whole shit show. But we decided to praise a old 250-year-old document that even the founding fathers said, please redo this like in 20 years so we can keep on surviving. But this is the life I have.
Well, listen, we're up against our first break and we'll be right back.
Well, thank you everybody for listening to Espera Que. Thank you for being here for me. I'm your host, Yarince Pascual Mateo. I hope you are listening to us here in any of our major podcasting platforms, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. Hope y'all have a wonderful day and hey, let's survive this 2025.
Bye, y'all. Hey, everyone. This is Christian and Jenny from the Coffee and Pandusi Show. We hope you're enjoying Espera Que with Yarince. It's a great show. Also, I want to remind you to join our show as well, Coffee and Pandusi, every Wednesday at 10 o'clock on your favorite podcast platform, and Jenny's show, Two Queers in a Truck. So
absolutely.
Every Wednesday at 11:30.
2025 is our 2025. If I can get it out right without something like that. We've got two wonderful shows that have joined the family of shows that we've done for 6 to 8 seasons. Yeah. And Yarince is a wonderful host, who's a wonderful guest host with coffee, and a wonderful young man with a lot of great vision and insight. Looking forward to seeing his episodes flourish. And as always, thanks for listening. Otherwise, Christian and I would be just talking to ourselves.
That's right, and we do.
we do. Doesn't keep us from doing that now.
That's right. Enjoy the show, y'all. Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for watching our show. Listening if you're on our major podcast platforms on Spotify and Apple. I'm your host, Yarince Pascual Mateo. Thank you so much for enjoying hearing my annoying voice, and hope you'll have a wonderful 2025. It's going to be a long one.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Welcome back. Well, hey, I want to piggyback on what you just said, because you're so exactly right. And I said on our other show, Coffee and Pandusi, that if Trump wins, which he did,
Yeah.
this actually could be in a bizarre way one of the best things to happen for not only the Democratic Party but for younger, more progressive people. Because how many times they lost Hillary in that
Yeah.
strategy? They lost, Biden won, but that was a little bit different because, it was the COVID thing and Trump really screwed up so badly with COVID.
Yeah.
And then we lost this one here with a wonderful candidate, Vice President Harris, but she ran real safe. And I've always said I don't understand why the Democratic Party they keep playing by rules that no one plays by anymore.
Yeah.
They're so afraid to put out commercials that say, listen, if you want to vote for a rapist or this or this, that's you. That's up to you. And then have pictures of, young people saying, that's not, I mean, just having like plain talk and saying the way they do it.
Like, I was sick and tired of this whole like political speak and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, literally pointed out, like, he is not doing political speak. He is literally talking about deporting and mass, like, hurting people. He is literally talking about violently mass deporting people. And you're just sitting like, yes, his words was very mean and rude. And we are the American people, and immigrants are our people. They do our farms. Like, no, they're human beings. Yeah. They're human beings who live next to you, who are your neighbors, who are your friends, your lovers, the people who you care about. It isn't because they do good jobs. It's because they are human beings. And it is annoying. It's like, stop with the pageantry. He literally ripped it up and showed up with a huge like axe and just destroyed the whole pageantry in 2016. Yep. It's gone. It's done. All of us are done with it. Like, literally, they tried to sneak a guy who was showing off nude photos of women in Congress as Attorney General. Like, exactly. It's been a frat house since the dawn of time. Why are we still acting like y'all are some adults? Y'all act like children every single time. Because, like, we actually need an adult to just be an adult and speak the truth and say, stop doing this and do your job, because we are wasting our tax money going to a genocide, going to Ukraine, going to their salaries, going to their pensions, going to their overtime and vacations, and they get to go on vacations for a month and accept bitch, complain, and campaign, and then they come back into Congress and do until they push some omnibus where it's just a bunch of hidden rules that will everything else is just what is the culture war battle right now. It's dumb. Our whole government sucks. It's just they act like we're supposed to be the leaders of peace and democracy, but how can we be the leaders of peace and democracy when our own government literally cannot live off of democracy? It relies on so many ways to protect the minority rule that I don't understand that even the founding fathers said, get rid of this. They're like, we did this already as a compromise in our time, in their time. The Constitution is supposed to be a living document. That shit's just a corpse where we just attach on little pieces of flesh every time we want to make it to move. And we just walk right over the body whenever we want something. It's just, they lost all the prestige of American governance. That's the thing. They lost it, and you can't respect it anymore. And because of that loss of respect, Trump came in and made it worse. And now we are here where America will somewhat get its respect back, but through its fascist, horrible ways, which a lot of people voted for because they were tricked into thinking that going around being a bully sure as hell will make you the best person in the world for some reason.
Here's the thought. I want to hear what you have to think about it before we take our second break. Mm-hmm. What would you think had there, because I thought about this from my end, what would you think if there had been a commercial that came out, and didn't have to be Vice President Harris who's in the commercial. Could have just been everyday younger people who
Yeah.
were basically saying like, "Why am I going to vote for Trump? He's a racist. Why am I going to vote for Trump? We all know that not only is he a racist, but he's he supports this or he supports that." I mean, let's just be honest. Let's do real talk. If the commercial like that had come out, younger people would have said, "That's real talk." What they're afraid is moderate, older white people would be offended by it. Okay. But would that moderate, older white person had voted for Trump because they were offended? You know what I mean? So their calculation is, I don't want to offend the moderate white person because I don't want to lose their vote. But I need to go after the younger vote. So I don't really want to real talk because I'm afraid I'm going to offend the older person is going to, if you don't like Trump, you don't like Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, I may not have liked the commercial, but it's almost like doing a commercial where the older person goes, oh, "Get off!" You know, I guess that's my point. I wish the Democratic Party. I want to hear what you have to say before we take our separate break. But I wish candidates. I don't want them to run like Trump, but we have to stop playing the game the way we're playing it. We have to be more forthcoming in our conversations and stop trying to offend such a small percentage of people and losing the vast majority of people. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But
I understand that. Like, I don't understand why Democrats believe that these people. Well, actually, I kind of do because most of them are the richer ones. That's
sure.
the thing.
Sure.
Is just that it's really annoying actually because when it comes to the Democrats, they try to be progressive and they try to do good things. And there are Democratic people who are actually progressive. They actually do the things that actually help people. But a mass majority of them will not go along with human rights or civil rights or black people or queer people or whatever unless it's advantageous for them for propaganda or shit like that. They will literally drop it like it's hot instantly if it is for the right time. Like immigration, even Democrats want some of these deportations.
Yeah.
Like 50% of them want deportations.
Yep.
What? Have you not been working with us? Have you not been understanding what we're talking about in the immigration talks? Have you not been a part of this whole entire conversation and actually looked at the people you're working with? And that's the thing, is just that the annoying part is at the end of the day, the United States of America was created to keep rich white people in power, and rich white people like to stay in Lincoln's chain to stay in power. So if it means they have to be with, hey, they're not being racist to me, so at least I keep my money. And then people are going to be offended, like, you're just being mean to white people. You're just assuming all this shit. And I'm like, no, buddy, I'm not assuming all this shit. It is literally all white, rich people. Do you see any rich black Democrats right there? Like, yeah, you got Obama and all those stuff, but are they in Congress doing this shit? Because they knew it was annoying. Like they over here acting like, why aren't you tolerating us? Yeah. And I'm like, why does my tolerance have to accept you being a dick to me? Yeah. Like tolerance isn't like, oh, right or whatever. It is a contract. I tolerate you when you tolerate me. If you're going around being a bigoted piece of shit, why do I tolerate you?
Yeah.
But the annoying part is that all these guys, they don't give a shit about that. They just give a shit about power and money. And they will tolerate whenever it's advantageous, and then they don't tolerate. And that's the annoying part. It's like corporations. They only care about the dollar. So all the conservatives losing their mind about rainbows and pride in June or black people in Black History Month or Latinos and whenever, or literally anything. They're like, wham, they're being woke, you're going to go broke and stuff like that. I'm like, you do know that America isn't all white. You do know other people exist. Like, other people buy things and they're just only marketing so they can have more money. You know that, right? But the second it is not a thing like, oh, supporting Palestine, fuck that. Israel, they gave us money. We can't do shit about that. Oh, people going against like insurance companies or doing all that, being with Luigi, or people doing things that isn't advantageous for the corporate people. They cut it off instantly. Simple as that. Like the second Trump came in, all the conservatives were praising because all the companies are getting rid of DEI initiatives. Like, you're celebrating over the fact that corporations are so afraid of your bigoted president. They're getting rid of programs to help other disadvantaged people get access to higher paying jobs just because you feel butthurt that someone black or white, I mean, not white, well, a different color than you,
Sure,
and is a different gender than you, is better than you and actually got the tools and stuff to help her get that job while you're here complaining. Like, they're qualified. The only difference is, even though you're not even qualified, you still have a better chance than them. So they're putting that evening out because, you know, it wasn't like 60 years ago where people were still lynching people. So I don't know. There's still sundown towns. There's still towns where it is dangerous for me to be out of night. There's some nearby my location. That's ridiculous. Like, I could be in danger driving between like all of the East Coast or somewhere in the Midwest. And I was like, oh, I need gas, and it's dark. And some sheriff is going to be like, you shouldn't be here, boy. Like, how is that still allowed? But here we are. It's just, you get to a point as someone who lived through these interesting times. And I see this a lot with my fellow guys. It's just getting worse and worse. And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? I can't save this if all of y'all are still going to be against me for just speaking out.
good. Yeah,
like
excellent.
The whole TikTok ban. First, Trump did it because he was upset people were being mean on him on TikTok and said it was like
he was getting his fifis hurt.
Yeah, he was getting his fifis hurt and he was being threatened, so he was going to ban it, and then it failed, and then Biden got rid of it. Then Biden's fifis got hurt because people were saying, like, you're supporting a genocide. This is bad. Democrats bad. And they're like, well, we got to ban you now. And it's a Chinese security threat. And now here, tomorrow is going to be banned. And I'm like, now they're squabbling how to stop the ban now because they just now noticed it backfired. Like, people are literally willingly downloading the Chinese version of TikTok and learning Mandarin. Like, Duolingo had a spike on new Mandarin users from English-based countries. Many people are just sticking it to the middle finger and just dropping any of the other corporations because this is because all the other tech companies were hoping for this because they were like, oh, there's going to be a vacuum. Now we can take over the video market and take all those precious information and sell it off instead of China doing it, which, if you're afraid of companies doing that, just make a law telling them to stop doing it, not just ban the competition.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I never thought about that. We're up against the second break, and we're going to talk about that because we're going to talk very briefly about 2025. So we'll be right back right after this.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being at our show today. I hope you had fun watching it on YouTube or listening to it on Spotify or in any major podcast platforms. Thank you for listening to our show. I am your host, Yarince Pascual, Mateo, and I hope you'll have a wonderful 2025 because it's going to be a long one.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying Espera Que with Yarince, and I apologize for stumbling over the name. It's the first time that I've talked about the show, and I'm excited to talk about it as we are offering, and you will see on our media pages, we're adding a lot of new shows that have nothing to do with me, but I'm here to talk about it because I'm kind of the company's spokesperson, I guess, or mascot, depending on the day. But anyway, it's a new, exciting, hip new show. I don't know if the kids use the word hip, but I do because I'm old. And anyway, it's getting the Latin Hispanic perspective, but from somebody much younger, from a Gen Z participant that is a young activist in our community. And Yarince's been on many of our shows in the Two Queers and Coffee family. And we look forward to hearing his opinions and thoughts. And I find this show probably one of the most interesting news shows. So check it out. It's available on our family of networks. And just like Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, as normal, all the same bat channels and all the same bat times. Come find us on Wednesday. There's something to watch every week. Anyway, thanks for listening as always, and we'll see you next week.
Hey everybody, this is Yarince Pascual Mateo, your host of Espera Que. Well, I hope y'all are having a good start of your 2025 because we're going to have a fun, long year listening to the news.
Welcome back. Hey, Yarince, question. I want to ask you about 2025. What are your thinks about? We got a long year. There's going to be a lot to talk about. I'm sure you've got a lot to talk about, and I know you're going to have guests come on, and you and your guests are going to be talking about things that are on your mind. But with the TikTok ban, I never thought about this. You're right. The competition, Instagram, all of the other people. I think they just assumed when TikTok got banned, everyone was just going to go to Facebook or Threads. They were just gonna. Oh my God, I need something. I'm going to switch to them. No, what they're doing is they're just going to other sites, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know that. Surely did they just think that? Wouldn't if TikTok had said, okay, we got 6 months before people leave, let's just create a dummy site, that's not called TikTok, maybe it's called TokTok. I mean, is that what's happening, or what's going on?
No,
What do you think?
no.
Okay.
So the whole thing is that the TikTok thing is just a mask. It's just a cultural mask. That's the old mask, because this could have been any site. Because if this continues and we solidify this president, what is this going to say is that the government could literally say any company who has any ties to any country they don't like, they can just say, I'm going to ban it and get rid of it and tell them either get bought by one of our American companies or you're not allowed. And that's kind of messed up, because a company would be like, what if another TikTok shows up and it's from some other country? But again, people are saying, are still using their, freedom of speech to just and they're like, oh, I hate this country now, ban this or buy the thing. That's the thing. They're just encroaching on our rights right now. This is just an encroachment.
So what are people who are on TikTok? Because I'm on TikTok, but I'm not on. I just have an account.
Yeah.
So what are people who are like influencers and people who are making money? There are people who are on there who do stuff and make money. What are they doing? Are they going to another site? Are they just going to? Do you know what they're doing, or do you have any idea?
So for the bigger ones, the bigger influencers, they pretty much diversified their whole entire brand. Yeah. So they're just going to branch off to their other stuff and hope to that others, since they're out of the United States, doesn't affect them. But for all the small businesses that are literally built off of TikTok,
yeah,
that's like thousands and thousands of small businesses gone. And that's part of Biden's legacy and on his fault. Like, he could have stopped this buck way long before this whole thing. He could have just vetoed it and done nothing. Like, literally everybody was telling them this is a dumb ass idea. And then Harris came onto TikTok and started using it heavily. And I'm like, you still banned it. But that's the issue. TikTok, it was going to rise. Something else was going to show up later in a couple of years, yada, yada, yada. It wasn't that big of a deal. They all knew it wasn't a Chinese security threat. Like, China knew it wasn't a security threat. They don't give a shit about our data. If they wanted it, they could have easily bought it from every other American corporation that has our data.
Yeah, you can buy that data. Yep.
Yeah, so it's just dumb. Yeah. It was just a bunch of dumb old people being dumb old people, while all the smart ones were just literally putting in a sneak bill that allows them to just ban whatever technology they want, just because they're afraid people are using it to stick the middle finger at.
Sure. Yeah, that's an excellent point, Yarince. And I know we're going over on your show, and I apologize for that, but that's an excellent point. All the information that we are giving, Facebook, Meta, Threads, even X, all of that data can be bought by anyone. So if the Chinese government or any government wanted that information, they don't have to create an app. All they had to do was buy it from Facebook. You know,
Yeah, like Zuckerberg's gonna do
if
it
they were,
instantly.
yeah, if they were really concerned about data being shared, then there would be legislation that says a foreign country cannot buy the data. But there's not a law that says that. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
there is
yeah,
right now multiple laws. The EU made a commission that forces all these tech companies to do that. It's just that America, being America, just
sure,
wants to be their big things, and we don't need
yeah,
regulations. But, buddy,
yeah,
we
yeah,
see it all around. We really do need regulations. AI just popped off. So much crazy AI on Facebook. In 2025 is going to get 10 times worse because every single day passing, AI is going to be the worst it's going to be ever again. It's going to get better and better and better, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse because not only are we about to start a whole entire new presidency where our president will literally lie on live TV. He drew a literal science map from NOAA on a hurricane path to lie to people about it hitting Atlanta. He is a lying, and now now they're the president, and also have access to high level AI or can bully AI companies to do what they want because they've done it before. He has done this before. He has bullied companies. He tried to bully Ukraine to get dirt on Joe Biden. That's how he got his first impeachment. So 2025,
yeah.
we're going to see like the advancement of a lot of technology. AI as specifically, Nvidia just became a $1 trillion company over like in an instant, and then earned another trillion because of AI. They planned ahead of it and started creating GPUs that are able to handle AI. Because of that, AI is going to go crazy, but we're going to hear a lot of alarmists from scientists, and it's going to be a rightful alarming because AI is very energy expensive. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of water to cool off, a lot of resources. Excuse me, a lot of resources to build all the devices, a lot of space to take up to build those supercomputers. Which, fun fact, if you build a supercomputer, it will siphon off all the water in the area. It will dump a lot of waste. It will dump a lot of waste into the air, and it doesn't make any jobs because most of the jobs is going to be is from the construction and then the 10 to 20 man skeleton crew that can remotely control the whole entire system away from the whole entire building. And they're building this. Elon Musk build one of those damn systems for his goddamn Gronk AI for X in a district in Knoxville in Tennessee, in the poorest neighborhood, a majority black poor neighborhood that have been rezoned to be an industrial chemical dump site. Their life expectancies are 20 years lower than the people a mile away from them across a railroad. And he built that is siphoning all their water, all their electricity, and they never had a say in it. None of the politicians or the councils had heard about it. No one in the city hall told them about it. Nobody knew. Elon just built it there. It is running right now, and it's making the lives of those citizens worse. And we're going to have to contend with the fact that if we're going to continue this AI trip right over here, we're about to keep on going barreling to the cliff of climate change, and things are going to get worse. The LA fires, that's going to be 10 times worse because that is the first year of that's going to happen next year and the next year. Because trust me, LA had fires. They had multiple fires. That's the first time it was so close and so dangerous. It's now going to be the norm because of climate change. And it's going to be the same thing for everywhere else. Texas, it is the norm that every time they get a winter, they're losing all their powers. Florida, it should be dead in the next 20 years. Like, things are going to get worse, and we either going to spend all 2025 watching Trump rip away all our EPA protections, and we're just going to watch the beginning of the end of the human race as we go more and more into pollution. Or worse, we're just going to have to deal with climate change while we're dealing with the whole mass deportations, which I've been hearing reports they might start on Tuesday for some. I don't know why. Like, They were literally drilling to get those Latinos.
So I guess basically what you're saying is Espera Que? Wait, what?
It's a lot.
Wait,
It's
what?
a lot.
There's a lot. It seems like there's going to be no loss for things that you're going to be able to talk about in 2025.
That's just talking about Elon. That's just
exactly.
one on Elon. We could be talking about Trump. We're going to be talking about
Exactly.
all his cabinet
Exactly.
members. Like he has an attorney general who wants to get rid of gay marriage. He's trying to get P. Hegseth, the second sexual predator, he's putting into his cabinet, which is just a military grunt whose biggest highest job is just saying racist bullshit for dangerous military combats across the world. And apparently people are just going to be one of the senators who were protecting him. One of the Republican senators who were protecting him in the hearings a few days back was saying that all of us were drunks. All of us cheated on our wives. Why are you being mean to him and calling him out? Buddy, he has never been a high-ranking officer to handle a platoon, let alone armies. Why him being in charge so important that you're just going to ignore the sexual assaults, the multiple cheating, the blatant drinkness? He had 3 gin and tonics in the morning on a weekday. What is wrong with you?
So I know we've run out of time. And we could go on, but I wish I lived in a world where the Democratic Party had a PAC, and I would donate to that PAC that was running commercials today when the lady who's running for our nomination for Attorney General, that they were running commercials in D.C. and other areas talking about she is a childless cat lady. She's a twice divorced woman who's never had any kids and is not married right now. She is the definition of what J.D. Vance says is a childless cat lady. And they got to put that in the face and say, you remember when he was saying that women like that don't contribute to society? Well, this is who you want as Attorney General. And those are the things that I think that we don't do. We don't hold them accountable for the crazy things that they've said.
We never hold it accountable for their morals. Yes. Exactly. Like they would beg and cry and be so asking for help and money whenever there is a hurricane and stuff like that. And makes sense. Your people were attacked. They were hurt. I understand. But you can't just turn around the second day and just say like those liberals don't deserve anything. They're just asking for handouts. I'm like, they're literally asking for healthcare and free food. You literally asked for that literally yesterday for your state.
Yep.
It's like, I don't understand. Like one thing about me and living in this country and stuff like that, the whole handout thing, I'm like, why are you embarrassed that people are there to help you? Why are you embarrassed that people want to give you things to make sure you live? Like it is more beneficial for everyone around me to be healthier, more educated, to have access to water and food, to have a home, to have the ability to get a working job, to live happy, because they're happy and they're happy in their own world. But when they're not happy, when they're suffering, when they're in poverty, they get desperate and they do dangerous and harmful things. And those dangerous and harmful things are going to happen on me unless I do something about it. But instead of me being a bigoted piece of shit and being like, oh, it's because of their skin, they're violent, or oh, they're gay, they don't give a shit, or oh, they're trans, they're predators. I'm like, I could just be like, they're human beings. They're suffering. 9 out of 10, I would have done the exact same thing if I was in their situation. Let me help them so all of us can do good. And not gonna lie, a lot of people believe that. But the way how things are being run, how no one's getting paid properly, how things are not there to help us, how we don't get the help, like people being homeless. The only thing to fix that is for us to literally treat them as human beings and just give them a home. There is more empty homes than homeless people. We can help them. Developers, they destroyed all our natures and all that stuff. Their money. They're human beings. They're people. Oh, they spent all their money making those developments. They have like 20 other houses right across the street over there. I think they can handle most of their empty lots they never sold for like 3 years to be given to a homeless person who have suffered for 5. Like, I just
Tell us how you really feel. Tell us how
it
you
just
really feel.
it just feels like that. Like, it's a very easy feeling and understanding to get to. And I understand people have different lives. People grew up differently. But I'm not going to lie. You can be grown up to be brainwashed to be the most bigoted race. And many people have grown out of it, broke away from those roots, and became good and amazing people. At this point, there is no excuse to be a hateful person, to act like helping someone is beneath you, and someone's skin or orientation or viewpoint is beneath you and should never be helped or viewed as a human. There's no use for that, because time and time again throughout history, you can see how only help the rich and powerful, and the rest of us got over. Like,
that's I agree. I completely agree with you.
like,
And
I hear from these like type of people, they're like history buffs. Like, I like looking into history and stuff. If you look at history, you would understand, like, a lot of those people in the rich and the religious institutions and all the very powerful conservative institutions, and throughout time, they seem to be a lot of money greedy idiots who just push hatred and make people fight each other. Nah, I'm just going to agree with them now. Hey.
Well, listen, we've come to the end of the show, and we hope everyone has enjoyed the first show, and we hope you enjoy the next one and the next one and the next one. And
I'm just hoping that I want to hear from whoever listens to this. If you liked it, thank you. If you hated my words, I mean, we had worse comments before.
Exactly. All right. We'll see you next week on Espera Que.
Okay.
And once again, also just to let you know that if there are any outtakes while we're recording, so for an example, if you say something funny or you think it whatever, I will usually include those outtakes at the end of the show.
Okay.
So if it's something that we think we don't ever want anyone to hear, I'm not going to include that, obviously.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming to see us here at Espera Que. I'm happy to be here. I'm your host, Yarince Pascual Mateo, here with my producer, Chris. Dang it, sorry.
That's okay. We'll do it again. Ready?
Do you want your whole name, Chris?
No, you don't even have to mention me.
Okay.
Nope.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, that's fine. We'll do it again. Okay. Go ahead. But most of the time, in between the commercials, when we're talking to each other, those get included at the end of the show. All right. Now, hey, before we do this, how would you pronounce the title?
Espera Que.
Espera Que. All right. Espera Que. All right. Here we go. So we're going to pause, and then we're going to do an introduction. We have to always assume at the first of the show and at the end of the show there is music, because I actually put music in there. It's about 10 seconds of AI music that we don't have to pay for. Yeah. So we'll find one that kind of goes with the show. If you have a musical taste, tell me, and AI will develop whether it's salsa, whether it's R&B, whatever it is, AI will do it, and we don't have to pay for it. So we don't have to pay any
royalties or anything.
Yes, and more importantly, we won't get blocked.
Yeah,
because their software will see the music is on there, and they will actually mute that section of the show.
Sure.
So, all right, you ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Sorry, but I'm just tired. Can we pause for a moment?
Yep, got it.
Sorry about that.
That's why we record.
Okay.
All right. So we're just going to pause and then just keep talking.
Yeah.
good. Very good. That is excellent. All right, here we go. We're coming back. Excellent. Hey, when we come back, I'm just going to ask you to reflect on what you think's coming up in 2025, and let's talk briefly about what you just said, because I never thought about what you just said about people who are on TikTok. They're just downloading some of the stuff from some of the other apps or whatever.
Yeah.
Here we go.